Hi everyone, welcome to another Program lesson. We are going to cover the double under. And as you might know, the double under has been in every open so far yet. And 23.3 is not out, so here's something we might expect for the next open workout. I'm Coach Chris, head coach of the program, and with me today is Ella. I'm going to do the explanation and Ella is going to do the demonstration. It doesn't matter if you already have double unders or you still need to get your first one. We have you covered because we start very basic and then we work ourselves up to more advanced progressions. The first thing we want to do is just work on our hand and feet coordination. That means we just flick the rope over and see where it lands on the floor. Ella is going to demonstrate that now for 3 repetitions. You don't have to jump now, it's just like flicking the rope over and see where it lands on the floor. Step over and repeat. We do that 3 times. One more. Great. As I said, pretty simple. That drill will get you started. And if you haven't jumped rope for quite a while, this is like a very good introduction and to make it like very approachable. The next thing you want to do is actually jump over the rope. But once the rope hit the floor, your feet are leaving the ground and then you land nice and easy on your forefoot and complete just one jump. Do that for 3 repetitions. The main idea here is to be patient. That means you don't want to jump too early and you also don't want to jump too late. Okay, thank you. If you have these dialed in, we can move over to the regular single under. The single under is often used within CrossFit to scale from the double under down because it's a fairly simple movement and it also practices your hand and feet coordination for the jumping, and it also trains the muscles of the lower body in order to improve in your jumping capabilities. So what Ella is going to demonstrate now is like the standard single under we use within CrossFit. Just do 5 to 10 reps. Always remember to stay nice and easy on your forefoot, and here we want to take the jumping mechanics and the rotating mechanics into account, where Ella tries to pull her elbows back and only rotates from the wrist. Repeat that one more time for 5 to 10 repetitions and only rotate from the wrist. Okay, and stop. You can practice these for quite a while, and if you feel your shoulders getting tired or your forearms getting tired before your wrists getting tired, then you're doing something wrong. And you should address that by pulling your elbows back and only using your wrist to spin the rope. You could also think of something like flicking something from your rope, like a water drop, in order to get the movement right. Now we can move into more advanced variations of the single under. When we do double unders, we need to jump a little bit higher so that we have enough time to clear ourselves twice with the rope. So what Ella is going to do now is modulate the height of the jump. So she starts out with regular single unders, then she jumps a bit higher to imitate the jump height of a double under, and then she jumps a bit shallower and just to work on wrist speed and have like some quicker jumps. So 5 of each. So these are the regular single unders. Now a bit higher, that would be the jump height for the double under. And then the last one is, you can just repeat that. The last one is just a bit quicker, where you have a very shallow jump to work on your wrist speed. Okay, thank you. This is a very important drill to really dial in your jumping mechanics, because as you could see, Ella's jumping mechanics weren't changing as she was switching the style of jump she used. When she was jumping higher, everything was the same. She just landed on her forefoot, she still accelerated the rope with her wrist, and she had a nice and straight body line. The next thing we're going to do, which is also a great drill to work on body lines and also on the wrist speed, is the alternating single under. So here Ella only has one foot on the floor at the time and then switches back and forth. Do a couple of these. And you can modulate speed here quite easily. You can do them a bit slower, a bit faster, and really work your wrists. Okay, and stop. Thank you. And as you could see, the upper body mechanics weren't changing at all. It always is like very rigid, shoulders slightly rolled forward and only spinning from the wrist. As you have these dialed in as well, we have some more single under variations that you could use. For example, you could open and close your feet just to practice this hand and feet coordination. And if you've never done this before, that might be a bit tricky and challenging in the beginning, but you will get used to it quite quickly. Do a couple of these as well. Okay, and thank you. So that would be our last variation of the single under that you could use in order to improve your jump rope mechanics. Now we move to more advanced skipping drills, and obviously specific to CrossFit, these cover the double under. The first thing you want to get dialed in is the timing. That means you really want to have the flick of the wrist while your feet are leaving the floor. So Ella is going to put the rope down and put the rope to the floor, yeah. And we're going to do the penguin jump. The penguin jump means we're jumping, and as our feet are in the air, we tap our thighs twice. And really try to focus on the timing and don't change your jumping mechanics. Do 5 reps of these. Always pay careful attention how she jumps up and starts tapping her thighs immediately. That's what we want to do on the double under. And this drill is going to teach you the double under. Even though it looks a bit silly and no one wants to really do it, it's a really good drill to practice timing and coordination for the double under. Once you have these dialed in and figured out, you want to move back to the rope, and now we're going to combine single under and double under. That means we do 2 singles and 1 double, then 2 singles again and 1 double. That doesn't mean you have to stick to this rhythm, you can change it up quite a bit. That means you could also do like 3 singles, 1 double, 3 singles, 1 double, or even 4. And as you progress, you can reduce the amount of single unders. Ella's going to demonstrate the rhythm I just gave right now, which is like 2 singles, 1 double. Okay, and stop. That's enough. And as you could see, the idea here is the continuation of the jump. That means as we finish the double under, we don't just want to land flat-footed, which is one of the biggest mistakes when learning double unders in the beginning. We really want to continue jumping. And even though the next jump is not high enough just yet, you will get there eventually. By just practicing this drill, you really will dial in your hand and feet coordination and your jumping mechanics specific to the double under. When you have this drill, as I said earlier, you can just progress by reducing the amount of single unders. The next step is to work to connect multiple double unders. And that's actually what we're looking for within CrossFit, because that's the most efficient way to do them, obviously. So what Ella is going to do now is a set of 5 to 8 double unders where she just continues flicking her wrist fast. Just do it one more time. Okay, and stop. As you could see, her jumping mechanics didn't change at all. The jump height was always the same, and the upper body always maintained the same mechanic as well. Now we move into more advanced progressions for the double under. That means if you already have a ton of double unders, you can still improve your double unders by thinking of like small improvements. One of them would be always start with a double under instead of a single under. That just saves you time, especially if you're in a hard workout and it's an AMRAP, for example, and you really want to maximize every second of that workout. You always want to start your first rep as a double under. Ella's going to demonstrate that now as well. And stop. To practice this, you just can repeat this sequence Ella just demonstrated. That means you throw the rope over, you really have to be patient, and before the rope lands on the floor, you have to jump and flick your wrist fast. As I said earlier, try to imagine you want to have shake water droplets off your hand, and then as you get the rope spinning, you can do 3 to 5 reps, stop, and then repeat this sequence for a couple of reps. So really to practice the start of the double under. In the beginning, you might need to jump a bit higher in order to get the first rep, but as with all the other drills, if you practice enough, you will eventually get there. Once you have all these things dialed in and you can constantly and repetitively jump double unders without tripping, you are ready for the last step of the progression, which is just speeding up your double unders without tightening up. What you don't want to be is uptight and closed. You still want to be able to breathe in a relaxed, nice pattern. And some number you could aim for is 115 to 130 double unders per minute. That means revolutions per minute, and you could like scale that down to 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever, and just practice dialing in these RPMs I just gave to you. Maybe start out on the lower end, and then over time you work yourself up to the higher end to really keep up with the elites in the sport. So that concludes our double under lesson, but not the learning. Always make sure to practice these drills over and over until they become second nature to really improve over the long term.